George Russell takes a spa weekend. Red Bull does everything they can do to keep Max in the seat. Welcome to Tinfoil Helmets, your occasional spicy hot take roundup with all the latest F1 rumors with the almost believable conspiracy theories to back them up. Everything here has been carefully researched for hours to make sure it's totally founded in logic, reason, and truth, or not. Who knows? Don't forget to ask your doctor.
I'm going to really enjoy listening to that at 2x when I'm doing the edit. Shall we see if we have achieved any predictions worthy of being noted?
Yeah, I just want to see how quickly I could get through the boring part of the intro. If you're here, you already know what's going on, because I doubt we're adding new subscribers at this point in time.
You never know.
That's true. If this is your first time, welcome. We are Tinfoil Helmets. We are doing the best we can. Anyway, did we get anything right in our predictions for the Belgian Grand Prix?
I said Merc 1-2 with Kimi second. No, but only because Mercedes are nerfing George intentionally.
Yep. Mercedes.
Yeah, I said Charles is on P3. It was surprisingly close.
It's surprisingly better than P3.
If Lewis hadn't binned his car, maybe Lewis would have been in front and I'd have been correct.
That's fair.
I suggested Aston the points because I thought that they were going to sneak in some of those upgrades a bit early, and instead they just took new engines that are still crap because they haven't improved them, and they went anywhere. And maybe if they were in F2, they might have been in the points, maybe?
Yeah, that was... you mentioned it before we started to hit the record button. As Spain just put in a goal... Like, it tells you exactly when we're recording, if anybody's curious. Essentially there was a graph that we saw on Reddit of there was the pole time, then 6 seconds later was Alonso's qualifying time, and then 6 seconds behind that was the F2 pole time. So it really lets you know just exactly how fast Aston Martin is going. There's always the joke about like the midfield being F1.5. I think Aston is literally showing you what F1.5 would be.
Yeah, the back end of F1.5, just to be clear. This just raised the question, and I know
that is F1.5. Because it's halfway between F1 and F2.
Yes, I concede your point, and I'm willing to accept that. I do think it raises the excellent question, and I know we've talked about destroying Adrian Newey's legacy, but is this the worst car Adrian has ever made?
We'll know, I think, come the Hungarian Grand Prix. It's either that or the McLaren.
Yeah, but this seems really bad.
Oh, absolutely. So here's the thing: if they come out to Hungary and everything suddenly seems just to be because the engine is bad, which maybe we won't be able to tell they're not. I think Newey's a little bit redeemed because they couldn't even fix the Mercedes or McLaren car. They just totally went back to a different spec and then came back again the next year. So yeah, I think it's just a case of we'll know. It's definitely top two. I think if they come to Hungary and nothing works, it's top one.
Yeah, it's a goal to he'll be on the top step of something.
Yep. I said rain. Yes, we did have some rain, not enough for inters, but there was rain on visors on a formation lap. I'm counting it.
I concede. I concur. I was disappointed because the way it was being hyped up on the commentary was like, there's a big cloud of waves coming in, everybody's getting ready for it, and then nothing happened.
Nothing happened. And then Lewis continues to pull back points on Kimi. No, not really.
For an interpretation of the word pull back points, he did get further back from Kimi in the point system for being world champion.
But I believe he did move up a spot in the standings because George had a no good, terrible, very bad weekend, as we are starting to grow accustomed from George.
Yeah, he's getting used to it. It's how you build resilience, how you build character.
How many 0-point weekends has George scored? See, this is how much we've carefully researched for hours. I can't even tell you this off the top of my head.
I do know that Kimi has at least had 2 DNFs this season.
Right.
I think he got 0 points in Monaco. 0 points here. Where else that he broke? Canada. 3.
The interview pen.
Too real, man. That's too real.
Let's see. George. He got 0 points in Monaco. He got 0 points in Belgium. He got 8 points in Canada because of the sprint race.
Oh, I don't count the sprint racing.
Think so. That sounds right.
Yeah. Shall we see what huge news we had between races this week?
You mean Max Verstappen to McLaren?
That's rumoured many times because he keeps showing up in places that he shouldn't be. But he won't comment on it. But we should be important. There was huge news. Well, there was huge news that will shake the Formula One world, and it will be amazing.
You're talking about Will Buxton?
Will Buxton, who it turns out it was IndyCar news, and I don't even think it was that big news in IndyCar. But somebody said, I've got other news. I don't think it's the same as Will. It's going to be earth-shattering, and then we got nothing.
I think in Will Buxton's defense, first off, he should definitely clarify, like, hey, this is IndyCar news, or hey, this is F1 news when he talks about breaking big news. I think in Will's defense, if you are a massive IndyCar fan, I think it was indeed big news.
Was it as big as Lewis to Ferrari?
To have Will say it, yes.
Okay. I will retract my statement and support Will Buxton in his.
It's any big superstar of sport going to team you never thought they would go to news. So it's the same sort of thing as Peyton Manning to the Denver Broncos.
I see. On the subject of Verstappen, every time he breathed, he was going to a new team, but the predominant one was McLaren, including on Friday. His manager and his dad were seen in the McLaren motorhome, probably because they were negotiating the last-minute deal and not because they had good sandwiches, cakes, and coffee.
Why would you go to McLaren? Like, I don't see the appeal of McLaren over Red Bull.
So I have a theory here, and maybe I'm going to pull us all the way up that I should have put in Spice Takes and Rumors. I think the entire system around Max is trying to get him to a new seat because they know he can't do it in Red Bull and they're screwed, and they'd like to go somewhere else for a large check. Joss would like to continue to be in Formula One. His manager would clearly like to make the fees. I think they haven't really talked to Max.
To be clear, Joss wants Max to continue in Formula One.
True, yes, sorry, just to be clear. He would like Verstappen to continue in Formula One, a successful one, which means it's Max. I think Max wants nothing to do with this, and I think they're going around shopping it to everybody to get a really good deal, and then they're going to be like, okay, Max, so let's sit down, let's have a good cup of good coffee, maybe a bagel, or a Stoopwaffle even.
There you go. That's culturally appropriate.
Yes, Stoopwaffle.
And not cultural appropriation in any way.
No. And then they're going to present him with the deal, and they're like, it's a lot of money, Max, and look, the car's going to be brilliant, blah, 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 and he's going to be like, I'm done. Bye.
Yeah, I don't think you can have any guarantees the car will be brilliant, looking at how the McLarens have been doing, and yeah.
The other rumor that we had was that Sainz would be going to Audi, but apparently not. He's just mad. Audi came out, everybody came out and said, no, we don't want him. He doesn't want to come here. What are you talking about? And I think that was all the suspicious drivers. Oh, that's the other one. Ocon's rumored to be out at Haas, which is not shocking. Twice now. Because some guy from F2 is jonesing for a seat, Ferrari driver. And then last but not least, the between-race technical drama. Lewis Bendit in FP3 and had to get a new car.
That's it for the World Cup. Oh, offsides. I thought it was Spain was going to go up 2-0.
They still haven't got to penalties?
Well, they're not going to go to penalties at this rate because
they got 1-0?
Yeah, because Spain are going to be winning it through extra time.
Come on, Messi.
Oh, I'm not sure he was offsides. Show it again. Do the thing with the line. Oh, they're not going to do the thing with the line? That sucks.
Okay. Should we move on to qualifying?
I didn't watch it.
I'll
just be honest. Great.
I will say Q1, snooze. Q2, snooze. Q3, towies. Credit to Isaac Hadjar. His toe was one of the most magnificent toes I have ever seen in Formula One.
Put Max on the front row.
I was 100%. And the poor Naomi, she didn't quite get it right. She's like, so Max, blah, blah, blah. The toe didn't really help, did it? And Max is like, what are you talking about? I literally wouldn't be here if Isaac hadn't done this for me. It was so choreographed and perfect and so close, and they stayed. So it was like, beautiful.
And then you had, I saw the scuttlebutt of George losing time all through Sector 3.
This is the story of the weekend, really, above anything else, is that not only is George supposedly not vibing with the car, which, it happens to the best of us, we're just not in it. His car, on the straights, for full throttle, is losing 2 to 3 tenths in the whole sector to Kimi's car. And they don't know why. And Toto said, well, we thought it was George's driving style, but George has changed his driving style aggressively to match the whatever it requires, and it's still not working, and so they've got to go back and look at it. And then to fast forward into race recap, on the opening lap, George basically reversed back through the grid on any part that was a straight because apparently he had no battery power.
How much are we buying this? there's a problem with the car versus the problem with George's deployment, or a problem with the deployment strategy, or is the deployment strategy the problem with the car?
I think the deployment strategy is much more nuanced than we think it is, but also a bit too plain than I think what it needs to be. E.g., it hasn't got the nuance that it needs, but it's nuanced in a weird way. And I think that is really harming him. And I think you can hear from other drivers that some of them are facing similar challenges with their different engines, with how it chooses to deploy it. But at the same time, I don't know, it just seems a bit weird that it's just George.
Yeah, no, that's definitely fair. Yeah, it definitely seems like, I guess to move down to kind of like spicy takes is that we saw with the ground effect cars that like the driver either gelled with them or they didn't gel with them. Yep. Max is kind of the exception of he's good at driving every sort of car. Lewis seemed to struggle a little bit with the ground effect cars, surprisingly. But he did have moments of somewhat glory during the ground effect era, but nothing consistency where he was able to mount any sort of challenge or anything like that. I'm wondering how much George was just meant for the ground effect era and the ground effect overhyped George Russell.
It is distinctly possible. I think there is also a statement of he came of age in the ground effect era.
Yeah. Well, he was racing in the Williams in the previous regs before the ground effect.
And this, I think we've talked about this before. He can drive a bad car well.
So put him back in the Williams.
But can he drive? Put him back in the Williams. You need to put him against the other two Williams drivers right now and see what happens. But maybe he struggles to extract the most from the best car.
Well, he said it was the great car, great engine in Australia. I wonder how much he's regretting that phrasing right now.
Yeah, it's like fine milk.
Yeah, but it definitely seems like a situation where George I'm not sure he's struggling to jive with the car. Oh, they finally put the lineup. Oh, he's barely off sides.
Can we table something for the end? Because I would like you to explain the offside rule to
me. I barely understand it as it is.
Okay, well we'll get there. I'm going to put it in the note.
Are you going to put it in? Are we going to leave the recording in the podcast of Andrew tries to explain offsides in a sport he barely watches except once every 4 years?
Yes.
Fair enough.
Because I don't understand the offside rule and apparently it's very important. Anyway, yes, I do think there's a great question about George's ability to jive with the car and what it is that it's giving him, and how Kimi is somehow doing an amazing job in the car when you wouldn't really have expected it after what was, brutally honest, a bit of a bad year last year.
Well, I think the caveat I was going to make was like we've always seen really great drivers gel with cars, and even across eras, and we know that the ground effect cars are just weird. Like they don't drive how people normally think they would drive. So I'm wondering if that was some sort of abnormality that made George look better than he was when he suddenly got the Mercedes seat. And Kimi is, once again, a generational talent of a driver who does all the things generational talents of drivers are known to do. And he can just adapt to the car, while George's driving style just does not fit the car. Because you could think of it as like if he's just dumping his foot on the throttle, that could dump the battery a lot. And maybe because I'm sure if it was something as simple as he's deploying his battery quicker than Kimi, like they'd say it, they know it, they wouldn't quite blame it on the car. I'm not sure they would tell us, but I struggle to blame the car.
I think I'm willing to blame the deployment. Just because the more I watch it, the more I see there's not weirdness as in like inconsistent, but the demand that people place on the way deployment works, I think, is very nuanced. Right. To take an analogy from the ground effect era cars, you didn't choose to drive a ground effect car in the way that you wanted to drive it. You drove the car in the way that the car demanded it. That's the way it worked, and I think that was the challenge that Lewis really faced. And I think
somewhat true for all eras of the cars, though.
To a certain extent, but there's often the way that the car blends and gives you what you ask of it, and you have to find the right way to ask of it. Right. I think that here with the deployment and the engines, I think one of the challenges, and I think you see some of it a little bit on the first lap and the way people chose to use their boost, people are driving it and asking the engine to deliver something that it cannot deliver. And that is something that I think Kimi has learned, and I think actually Max has learned a pretty good job of how to ask the engine to do the thing and leverage it in the best way possible. And I wonder whether George is like trying to demand something of the engine that it just cannot give him, or at least with the current capabilities that it cannot give him.
This is definitely something where all of Max's random side quests come in handy between the sim racing and the GT3 of like, he's getting used to different cars, different deployment strategies where, George is maybe not.
Exactly. So to bring this back to the first lap where poor George got swallowed up.
I would just real quick. I was going to say that like, I never buy into the whole like, oh, it's the car sort of thing, because like Mercedes has a pretty good lead in the constructors standings. But the DNFs of Kimi and George throughout the season are not helping. In the situation of in a car that has looked totally dominant, where or that has looked dominant most of the season, it's been good a lot of tracks. Kimi had the streak of 4 or 5 straight wins.
5 straight wins on the trot.
Yeah, and well, honestly, if I look at this, like from Australia to Monaco, there was not a time that car did not finish on the top step.
Yep.
Different drivers, but on the top step. It only hasn't won 2 races out of the whole season.
Right.
That being said, they are 70 odd points in front of Scuderia Ferrari, which in the team standings, 70 points is not that much.
No, it's what?
So,
2-1-2s?
Yeah, pretty much. It's not quite Ferrari's breathing down their neck, but it's not as comfortable as like McLaren was last year, where McLaren had it like wrapped up for all intents and purposes, wrapped up at the halfway point. Mercedes is probably still going to win the constructors, but it's going to take a little bit of concern and maybe some lucky race cancellations between Qatar and UAE to make sure it doesn't happen,
or fixing their reliability issue.
Yeah. One of those things, but like it's to the point of where it doesn't make sense that like Mercedes would want to give George a car that is not great.
Well, other than if they don't like George.
No, but that's my point is because Toto wants to win. It's good for Mercedes. It's good for the payout and everything else if Mercedes wins the constructors. Like, I know we all care about who the driver standing is, but the constructors really, for the most part, well, probably with the exception of Red Bull, they care about the constructor standings.
So what you're really saying is Toto's love of a championship win for the constructors outweighs his current frustrations with George being annoying.
Yes.
Okay, I can subscribe to that theory. I can believe that. I don't think they're sabotaging him, although I'd like that to be the case.
It doesn't make sense for Mercedes to want to sabotage George.
No, except funny. But anyway, yes, true. Lap one. The lesson from lap 1, which I think is also the lesson for this whole race weekend, and maybe this could be the learning of the whole era if we don't fix the engines. Don't press the button yet. Not yet. No, not yet. You pressed it too early? Well, I'm sorry. Look what happened now.
Yeah, that was very much the case. Like, Max had a good run and then immediately got mugged down the straight. George really got mugged down the straight.
Yeah, I think he's having his problems, though. Lewis pressed it too early.
Yep.
He thought, I've got it now, and then it wasn't.
Do we want to talk about Lewis and George in the lap 1 penalty?
Yeah, we will, but let me finish the point on the batteries. I would like to point out that Kimi might be showing how generational talent he is, because he looked at that coming down, I don't know what the one is on the way to Eau Rouge.
Well, he's an iPad kid. He knows when to properly push the button.
True. And he saw that Max was right behind him, was like, sure, Max, you can press your button and go past me now. But when we get to the end of the Kemmel Straight, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to press my button. I'm going to go faster than you. And he just held back, let Max take it, and just let it happen. And then he was like, okay, beep, and shot past him. And then everybody came up behind them, and then Lewis and George kissed, and not in a good way.
Are we turning into 2 old men in a podcast who like don't want racing to devolve into pushing a button?
I think you more so than I. I don't like the fact that they still haven't worked out how to push the button at the right time. The 10 races in, man, you should have worked it out by now.
Yeah, I think my gripe is more along the lines of, and I griped on it last time enough about why is it deployment over 1 lap when like...
Yes, I agree.
There's a lot of lap at Spa where there is not a lot of lap at like Austria.
Yeah. It definitely showed its ugly head. But as they came down the Kemmel Straight and George ended up quite a long way back. I think he lost 2.5 places. He then comes into, I can never remember what the corner is. Pouhon? No, that's the next 2-1. Lacombe, I think it's Lacombe. he decides that he's going to brake more aggressive than everybody else, and Lewis is already well ahead of him. He comes up behind him, and then they're like, wee, they kiss like a virgin for the very first time.
Well, that was a terrible Madonna impression.
Try very hard.
Anyway, I know Lewis got the penalty. Maybe this is my I hate George Russell bias showing.
Ooh.
I think it was more George's fault than Lewis.
I don't think it was either of their faults. I think it was a racing incident. I do think George is the one that kind of by braking late and desperately trying to save his fact that he'd lost 2 positions, he put himself in a position that caused him to get bumped.
Yeah, he was trying to dive it up the outside as best he could with how much position he had already lost. He was trying to save face, and that's why I put a little bit more on George. I would agree it was also a racing incident. I would say of the Ferrari drivers who hit another car this weekend, I would have given the penalty to Charles instead of giving the penalty to Lewis.
I do think the penalty was unjustified, and apparently if you read the official posting notification, apparently the entire steward's note spends its time justifying about how it's a racing incident and then says, but we decided to give him a penalty anyway.
Approaching turn 5 on the opening lap, car 63 attempted to overtake the outside of car 44 and had established sufficient overlap to be entitled to the racing room. Car 44 remained on the inside. During the quarter, car 44 experienced understeer, despite attempting to avoid car 63 by applying corrective steering and making contact with the right-hand side of car 63 and its front left wheel. The stewards determined that car 63 remained within the available racing room and that the collision was caused by car 44 being unable to maintain sufficient separation. The stewards recognized several mitigating circumstances. Car 44 acknowledged the presence of car 63 attempting to leave the appropriate racing room and made a genuine attempt to avoid contact. The collision resulted from a loss of front-end grip rather than an aggressive or deliberate maneuver. In addition, the incident occurred on the opening lap where reduced grip and compressed from racing conditions are recognized. For these reasons, while car 44 was wholly at fault for the collision, the stewards considered a 5-second time penalty rather than the standard 10-second time penalty as the appropriate penalty within the FIA penalty guidelines. Competitors are reminded they have the right to appeal certain decisions with the stewards, in accordance with Article 15 of the FIA International Sporting Code and Chapter 5 of the FIA Judicial. Yeah.
So basically, they spend the entire time saying it was nobody's fault, and then they're like, yeah, but whatever.
Well, I think that's why they only because generally they take a pretty lax approach to lap 1 tournaments. That's why to me it was very surprising that that got a
full investigation and a penalty.
Yeah. Meanwhile,
this was later on, maybe 5 or 10 laps after the safety car had come out, and
probably 5 because it's Spa.
Was it past Piastri?
Yeah, Piastri and Charles Leclerc.
Piastri and Charles took the letter of the law very aggressively.
On the approach to turn 5, car 81, that's Oscar, moved to overtake car 16 on the outside. Car 81 had the same overlap on car 16, but the front axle of car 81 was not ahead of the axle of car 16, and therefore and there was no possibility of car 81 completing the overtake from that position. The steward's determination car 16 did not deliberately crowd car 81 off the edge of the track. Car 16 followed the racing line before the entry of turn 5, moving slightly to the left, opening up to turn 5, and side-to-side contact occurred between the 2 cars. In this circumstances, the stewards determined to take no further action.
Because they like Charles and they don't like Oscar. Pretty much. Yep. George did it. No, not George. Charles did it again to somebody else. I can't remember who it was. It was Lewis.
I know we're skipping ahead a little bit, but to be fair, not much else happened in the race.
No, nothing. This is a race where you'd like to discuss the adjudications, not necessarily what happened on track. We've got another adjudication coming yet.
Did you see the cooldown route comment?
I did not see the cooldown one.
I sent it to you on Instagram, but they showed the video in the cooldown room, and Max and Charles are in the cooldown room, and Charles was like, that was, and then he was kind of at a loss for words, and Max goes, perfectly calculated, or something along those lines. Well calculated. Charles just kind of laughed.
Just simply superb. It's great.
Yeah. Charles was just like, that was, Max was like, well calculated.
Yeah, beautiful. I do think that might have been the peak of the entire race, of the most level of excitement that we had.
There were all those VSCs to clear bits of car off the track, done in such a way that nobody could take advantage, except for Ferrari. The Ferrari International Assistance is back. However, Ferrari somehow screwed up the ability to get special assistance.
Oh, was it? It was the second VSC, I think it was second VSC. They decided they're going to pit them. Lewis had already got his penalty, but hadn't served it yet, so they pitted both of them, which actually worked out quite well, relatively speaking. The timing was right. And then somehow I don't know whether they have a person press the button or whether they wait for something else.
Lewis almost did a Kimi.
Lewis almost did a Kimi by almost trying to drive over everybody, but luckily there was no fuel rig attached, so it was okay. But
there wasn't a full rig attached in Bahrain either.
Yeah, fair point. And then they took away the front.
You know that was
adjustment guy.
That was the Kimi I was referring to, right?
No.
When Kimi broke the guy's leg in Bahrain.
I do remember the breaking. I can't visualize it in my head. I can visualize the.
You don't remember seeing the leg twist underneath the rear?
I do not remember seeing that.
That was bad.
Yeah, this was pretty close. And credit to Lewis, he immediately stopped him on the radio. It's like, everybody okay? And credit to his new engineer, Carlos Santana. Wait, that's not. Anyway, the new guy. He said, "It's all okay. Get going. Go.
Images.
And so Lewis almost runs over the guy, but this leads to a problem because the guy that was there was trying to fix his front wing to adjust it after the wheels, and he didn't get adjusted on his front wing, and Lewis had to drive around with a slightly dodgy front end for the rest of the race, which included a lot of whining from Lewis for about 15, maybe 10 laps of like, oh, my front wing, I'm not going anywhere. And then he wakes up and decides he could probably get everybody. Go on, send me the link so I can watch this again.
Oh, I'm just going to send you the still.
Oh, that'll work, because is it mid-frame with the leg bent in the wrong direction? What's wrong with that? It looks fun.
Look at that leg bend. That's not how a leg's supposed to bend.
Isn't it?
Well, not when, see, your foot is here under the tire, and then the car goes, and then the leg has too many bends here. Like, this is the knee. This is not the knee. This is the knee.
Oh, dear.
We have the video? Oh, good. Watch.
Oh, it's the after shot. Yes, there's very much a broken leg there. Good Kimi.
And I don't think they also didn't change the tire. Because the wheel the tire never came off.
Good job, Ferrari. Good job.
That was an interesting race.
Those are the days when we had interesting races.
Stop sharing this window. Yeah.
So I think that was the rest of the race.
Yeah, pretty much.
Kimi wins.
Lando had a decent recovery drive.
If Lando had not been in P10, I think he could have been in the top 3.
Yeah, maybe.
What if? If was never a true story. Lewis did not get a penalty for nearly running over someone, which I thought was pretty reasonable. They got €30,000 fine, $10,000 suspended for 12 months, or €10,000 suspended.
I'm kind of under the opinion of you can't call an unsafe release on your own team.
How do you mean?
So if you have an unsafe release from the pits and you end up running into like a car in the fast lane as like your mechanics released you and something like that, and if everything is internal to Ferrari, I'm not sure you can penalize somebody for an unsafe release.
So let's bring back the fuel rigs.
Yeah.
And you accidentally set fire to just your team. Is that considered unsafe release?
See, I would say no.
Okay, because it's only your team.
It's unsafe. But yeah,
is there a limit that if the fire goes out before he enters the fast lane? It's okay?
if you burn down your pit garage, you're only impacting your own race.
True. Okay, fair point.
If you run over your mechanic, that's one less mechanic you have for the rest of the race.
This to be brutally honest, is how I feel about every penalty. I'm like, if you do it to yourself and it only impacts yourself, I don't really care. Just have fun with that. It's fine. Track limits at the back of the grid, I don't care. You're not gaining it. If you're Aston Martin, you're definitely not gaining a lasting advantage.
Yeah. They're just out there, like if in the Bahrain, they're just out there doing the short course while everybody else is doing the long course.
And they still come last.
Yeah.
Too real. I did forget 2 other DNFs. Stroll, which I know what happened to him. I don't really care. Perez
Clutch, I believe.
Clutch?
Yeah.
Was he a bit clutch, as the youth say today?
No.
Okay. Perez, his suspension gave up again, like it did in Canada.
That's good for you on Perez and
it is.
Bottas
I've updated the stats on Checo versus Valtteri watch. But I don't think there's anything else in the race. Should we go to the driver of the day?
I'm trying to think of something else to talk about in the race because we've only been chatting for like half an hour.
So I would really shorten my review of the race to, it wasn't a bad race. It was actually, it's Spa. It's always, Spa's a great track. It's got the Eau Rouge thing. You've got the Puani thing. You've got the bus stoppy thing.
What if we say it was a bad race for Spa?
I can subscribe to that.
And I would take a bad race at Spa over a good race at
Monaco.
No, that'd just be so amazing. You would just be so impressed that there was actually a good race at Monaco. No, but I would take a bad race at Spa over like a bad race at like. I just remember the one French Grand Prix at Paul Ricard where like there were no overtakes or anything happening the entire race.
Paul Ricard as a track is a track where I want to go in my car and do a track day because the opportunity for absolutely mullering my car is extremely low. But to watch other people, it's not exciting.
See, the problem I have with Paul Ricard is we have all these different track layouts
And they never use them.
and we never use them. It's just, it's kind of like I love Bahrain, but like, come on, we should be. You have four F1 grades, but three that really go through the main straight. So you have 3 grades. Rotate the 3 every third year. You get we're back on the thing.
I've got an even better idea.
What, for Paul Ricard, every lap is a different layout?
No, that's a bit much.
Yeah, that's really gonna be hard with the back markers.
Every pit stop, of which 2 are mandated, you have to change the thing. So as soon as you take the pit stop, until your next pit stop, you're doing a different layout. So you've all got to go the same direction. But you're about to overtake someone, but they get to go straight because they haven't pitted yet, and you have pitted, so you got to go left and go around the other thing, and then everybody else has got to catch up. I want to see them. I want to see them work that, and I want to see all the penalties that come out of it. Because if you go off and it's not the one you're supposed to, it's track limits. But if you did the right thing, it's correct.
The problem I have with that is that like Formula One races are like 300 kilometers. So like, how do you do lap count in those situations?
I don't know. It's going to be fun.
You just have odometers on the car, and like whoever crosses the finish line with over 300 kilometers first wins.
This is why it's perfect. You measure the lap count based on the default layout.
No. This is brilliant. This is a whole new level of strategy because it's all about like you have to run all 3 loops, right? And it's whoever crosses the finish line after completing 300 kilometers.
Yes.
So like, if you cross the finish line at like 299, you have to go do another lap of whatever loop you did.
Yeah.
So
I like that.
From the gun, everybody might be saying like, oh, we're going to do like the outer loop first or something like this. Or yeah, we're going to do the outer loop first because it's easier on the tires, and then like work to these other loops. And like somehow like the strategists are going to calculate it down to be like, okay, we need to do like 20 laps on this loop, and then 20 laps on this loop, and then 20 laps on, like to get to the exact right level of kilometers. The only problem is like, how do you deal with a safety car?
Oh, when you get to the safety car, because the start finish line will be in the same place. So when you get to the safety car, you just do the one loop. You just follow the same pattern. You don't need to go change it. So everybody goes back.
And that's going to screw everybody's kilometer calculations.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Brilliant.
This is why it's so amazing. And I was thinking that the other factor into this is the strategy is so important because the actual number of laps should be calculated based on the default loop. So you do 300 kilometers on the default loop. But you don't know, you do have to complete that number of laps on all the loops, and it changes when you do your pit stop. So the strategist is sitting there like, so what we need to do is we fuel for 70 laps on layout 1 because that's what we say we're going to do. But we need to strategize this because we know that loop 2 is technically longer but uses less fuel, and so we're going to stop on lap 3 to go to the other one in blah 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 blah. See, it's amazing. It's the way forward. It's the way forward.
The Tour de France was at Medicourt this weekend.
I did see that, and I'm surprised Bottas wasn't there.
And they did not respect track limits.
I like that picture you sent me of like 8,000 people over the track limits. And the only reason we know that they didn't get called by the FIA is that they had only 2 wheels over the white line, and you need to have all 4 wheels off.
Yeah.
So. Wait, does that mean that if you're in a Formula 1 car and you get the car to tilt up when you go over the white line so that you only have 2 wheels on the tarmac, that you can go over the white line?
I think they looked at it like vertically.
Okay. Drive the day.
Oh, I thought you were going to talk about the Tour de France for a little bit.
You can explain it to me. I'm just disappointed because we're not getting the Django Unchained, the Tour de France Unchained, or whatever it is on Netflix anymore.
Tade's being Tade.
Is he good or bad?
He's very, very good.
Okay, great. Yeah.
Former or disgraced cyclist Lance Armstrong is trying to make himself relevant again.
Like Felipe Massa?
I mean, Felipe is not disgraced, so no. I don't want to talk about this guy too much because I hate him. So, but if Tade wins the Tour this year, which it seems very likely that Tade is going to win the Tour this year, given, especially because Jonas crashed out today, and that was his closest rival.
Is Jonas out for the week for the rest of the thing?
Oh yeah, he's done. He abandoned. He broke his collarbone. Yeah,
not again.
Sure. So Tade looks pretty much. So this will be win number 5 for Tade, which technically ties the all-time win record, because we're not going to talk about the guy who, at one point in time, had 7 championships or had 7 Tour de France's.
I see.
Tours de France.
How many did he have after he got disqualified?
0.
Oh, he got disqualified from all of them.
Yes, you and I had the same amount of Tour de France victories as Lance Armstrong.
And I'm going to get that on the t-shirt. That's going to be amazing.
Yeah. I mean, I remember growing up, it's like maybe one day I'll have as many Tour de France victories as Lance Armstrong, and sure enough, I now do. I didn't think I was going to be able to pull it off.
You have as many world championships as George Russell.
True.
Doesn't land the same.
No.
Okay.
But he was making waves about how Tade knows what the real number of Tour de France victories
come on.
equals.
What is his name? Nico Rosberg?
Yeah, pretty much.
Why are people like this?
Well, I know why he's like it, because he's a narcissistic egomaniac who will throw everybody under the bus to promote himself. He is a shithead who doesn't deserve a microphone.
I agree. I did watch Wimbledon last week.
Really? This is just turning into like general sports at this point. Hold on, let's just finish up the Formula One race, then we continue with general sports.
Yes.
You want Kimi for driver of the day?
I think Kimi for the driver of the day.
That's good. I'd go with Charles.
He did a very mature drive for a 19-year-old.
I'll say Charles. I thought Charles did a very good job. I'll actually even honorable mention Lando Norris.
Yeah, I think he did pretty good, actually.
Yeah.
On the subject of Kimi and being young, Ruth Boscombe, who was a former strategist at Alfa Romeo, talked about Bono and how Bono is a god with the way that he has been coaching Kimi, because she's been listening to the radio, and he's not telling Kimi how to drive. He's giving Kimi information to help Kimi make a choice. Versus, I think, so many other drivers. And apparently it's like his style with Kimi is totally different to that of how he was with Lewis, for obvious reasons, but also at the same time it shows an adaptability. Great pictures on Reddit. You should take a look.
I mean, I've said it before. I think Bono's the best race engineer on the grid.
Driver who couldn't wait for it to be over. I don't know. Everybody seemed kind of okay with it today.
Maybe Lewis. He was kind of having a no good, very bad day.
He really recovered after he got his head down, and came back at Oscar. And
he did.
I think if he'd had another few laps, he could have possibly had a chance of getting Max.
I think I'm still concerned that Ferrari doesn't realize who they're driving. I think Niki Lauda's comment about take a trained monkey and put it in a car makes a lot more sense, seeing how Ferrari treats seeing more and more how Ferrari treats their drivers, because Lewis asked what lap they were on. It's like, oh, we're on lap 18. And it's like, this is not, why am I still on this tire? This is not the strategy we agreed to, as far as we talked about. Oh, it's because you have a 5-second penalty, so we're extending because of that. And he's like,
again?
What? So, they're not telling him anything, and they're making decisions for him, and that's not, I think, how Lewis wants to operate.
He wants to feel like he has agency, even if he...
I think he should feel like he has agency.
No, I agree. I completely agree.
Yeah.
Here's the question, though. What do you think Ferrari treated Michael Schumacher like? Or does the Schumacher, Jean Todt, Ross Brawn era not count? Because that's the outlier.
It counts, but it is the outlier. It is the... I have to imagine they listened to Michael Schumacher. Whether Schumacher listened to them is a different issue. Hey, go wear a helmet before you go skiing. No, I'm good.
That would be Mercedes.
No, fair enough. But I have to imagine that they listened to him. But this is the Ferrari has been trying to recreate for forever.
Mm-hmm. Since 2007.
Yeah, pretty much.
20 years, maybe they'll get it.
Yeah. So, I don't know. But yes, I can't imagine they didn't listen to because even there was some stuff. I don't think there was totally no news this week, because there was also some stuff that came out that Red Bull hasn't been listening to Max, and it turns out maybe they should have been listening to Max, because Max has been complaining about the wing that screwed him up at Silverstone for
forgotten about that.
A while, and it turns out with the way they have it flipped, or the way their wing rotates, it doesn't, the way that the Ferrari one rotates is it starts to add downforce, I think, slowly, or it starts to add downforce as it's closing, while the Red Bull one does not add any downforce until it slams shut. So it's suddenly very different. It's a sudden snap of downforce.
I think the comment I saw was that the putting aside the fact that they go different directions, the Red Bull one is mechanically closed. It requires most of the effort is done through the mechanical effort, so it kind of forces it. The Ferrari one has a thing that starts it going, but then it closes more naturally, which reattaches more progressively, which is what I think I'd understood. And McLaren still can't get their Macarena wing to work.
Right. But debrief room?
I want to be in the Merc one because I want to hear what the excuses are for nerfing George.
I think, I agree. Specifically, like the Merc engineering department, where they're like, show me the difference between these two pictures. They're the same picture. Like,
and everybody's like, but they're not.
But George is like, but they're not. And everybody's like, they kind of are though, bud.
But what they need to do is they need to do what they did with Nikita Mazepin, which was they just gave him different cars. They just swapped the cars and said, here, you have the other car this weekend. And there was no difference between the two. So they should do that next week. They should give Kimi George's car and George Kimi's car and then see what happens.
Do. I don't think they should.
I mean, okay. The reason they should do it is probably because there isn't any difference between the cars, and I want to see the shock on George's face when he's still terrible. So, should we move on to Checo versus Valtteri watch?
Tell us all about it.
So Bottas is pulling back. It's 7-3 in favor of Perez, but Bottas is pulling it back. Bottas both out-qualified Perez.
Whoa.
And he also outraced him, but that's because Perez's car gave up and he DNF'd again, so who knows. I would like to note that the number of times I looked over and saw the interval on the thing as a minute for Bottas. He was a minute behind the next person. Terrible. Then Alonso was another minute behind. And I'm like, wait, is this Talik? No. Oh my God. What is going on?
I think they were the only two drivers lapped in the race.
Pretty bad. I will say, and I think I've said it before, I want Cadillac to keep trying.
They were the only two drivers. Valtteri finished 18th, 1 lap behind the leader. Fernando finished 19th, 2 laps behind the leader.
He got lapped by Valtteri.
By Valtteri. The interval between Valtteri and Fernando is 1 lap.
Okay, I have ragged on Fernando Alonso a number of times. He doesn't deserve this.
That's not even really his fault. Like, that's
no, it's not his fault. Well, it is his fault. He chose Aston Martin.
Yeah.
He could have retired. Okay, I don't have any fun. I have no fun facts this week. Do you have any fun facts?
Spas are named after Spa, if you didn't know.
Also, everybody gets it wrong. It's not Eau Rouge, it's Radion.
I knew that one too. Yeah. I saw a really great picture of like the circuit, like way back when, like early 1900s, and it's like the Eau Rouge road goes to the left, and it's the Radion road that keeps going up the hill.
Because the Eau Rouge is literally the left turn. That's all it is.
It follows the stream.
Yep. And then everything else up there, and you go blah blah blah, Camel, blah blah blah. Spicy takes and rumors. Should we do predictions and then we should go to spicy takes and rumors, which is really offside rule, and we'll discuss Wimbledon.
Wimbledon and it's not coming home.
We should also discuss that.
Yeah,
let's do predictions for Hungary.
Sure.
I only have one, which is that George is back because they decided to nerf Kimi's car. Keep it fair. That does remind me. One thing in the race I forgot about: papaya rules were back.
Barely.
Norris came up and they gave Norris. They said, "Please don't go yo-yo racing with Piastri. We can't say on the radio. We'll explain it after the race."
Oh yeah, I did hear that.
Papaya rules. Okay, yes. Your predictions for Hungary.
I went that Aston Martin's updates work, but it doesn't matter.
Bold move there. Bold prediction.
Yeah. You know what the bold prediction is? That they work. You telling me you have confidence that their upgrade package is going to work? Yeah. That it's probably the boldest prediction I've made this season is that their upgrades are going to work.
I'll concede that point.
And then I also went Lewis Hamilton for the win.
He does have a tendency to be pretty good at.
He does like a hungry, yeah.
Yeah, he does like hungry.
He has a hunger for hungry.
He has a hunger for hungry. He has a hunger for Monaco without the walls.
I like hungry. Hungry's usually pretty good.
It is one of the most difficult tracks to drive in any game. I've tried it in 3 different games, and between Monaco and Hungary. Monaco, I just got walls. I'm not that good. But Hungary, extremely difficult to get right. Like that one, I could never win it, even when I lowered all the settings.
Liz and I are going to go see the Odyssey that day.
Oh,
yeah. So who knows when the hell we're going to be recording this thing?
Because how long is it? 3 hours and 45 minutes.
2 hours and 50 minutes.
Oh, it's only 2 hours and 50. Okay, I'm getting confused because I've got Avatar on the list, and that's 3 hours and 17 minutes.
Luckily, Christopher Nolan loves IMAX, right? And there's only so much space on an IMAX 70mm platter.
Oh.
And that actually limits the runtime of his movies.
Thank God for that.
Yeah. Actually, I have a fun fact about the Odyssey, if you're ready for it.
Okay.
So apparently there is no CGI in this movie. It was all the effects you see were done practically, which is really cool. Yeah, that's really cool. So, they shot an IMAX on film. They did digitize the movie to do a computer editing because that just makes everything easier. But the editing suite prints out a list of we use this reel here and this reel there. So they sent that back to the one place that can still do real film processing, and they did the old school method of cutting and splicing the movie together. So if you watch the Odyssey on 70mm IMAX, it is technically a film that has never touched a computer.
Even for the color grading?
Yeah, they did color correction in the old night. Yeah, so they cut they digitized the movie, they did the edits in the computer, they brought it back down, they had the list, they cut the film together, they cut the original and negative together, they did the color correction, and then they made the positive prints that you see for the movie based on that negative. So it is old. I mean, they did color correction before we had computers, so it's nothing new. But yeah, so it's just technically that if you watch the Odyssey in 70mm IMAX, which those of us in the Pacific Northwest, specifically the Seattle area, cannot do, thanks Pacific Science Center selling the Boeing IMAX theater to Space Needle, whatever.
Yeah. They got rid of it?
Yeah. Our closest 70mm is Vancouver.
That's too far. Vancouver, Canada.
Yes, not Washington. So let's be honest, they're the same distance away. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't really make any... Well, when involved in international...
Would you like to slow down around JBLM or the border? You're going to be caught in traffic at one of them.
Fair point. Fair point. So this means that really the Odyssey might be the last entirely analog produced film.
Until Christopher Nolan's next movie.
Yeah, but I'm guessing that by the time he gets to try and do that one, things might change. I don't know.
The really hilarious thing in all this is how much this has been a real fuck you to Warner Brothers.
Why?
Okay, so Christopher Nolan had a deal with Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
I think after Tenet, they really didn't want to keep...
Because Tenet kind of bombed.
I like it.
I liked it.
My wife doesn't like it. That's fine.
Okay.
I understand why she doesn't like it.
Yeah.
I'm not upset that she doesn't like it. I get it. It's a very polarizing movie. If you either think it's really cool or you don't, I get it. Yeah. It's fine. Nobody's gonna hurt my feelings by saying Tenet doesn't I don't like Tenet. It's no, if you don't like Tenet, totally understand. It's not I didn't like The Godfather, and it's no, I didn't like Tenet. Okay, I get it, I understand. But after Tenet, they were no, we think we've given you too much creative control. We want to pull some of that creative control back to the executives who really know how to make movies. Yeah. Right. So Christopher said, well, that's all great. Goodbye. And he ended up signing a deal with I think it's Universal who's been doing his movies now.
Ultimately, that's very funny because they are the same company.
No, I don't think so.
Universal's owned by Paramount, who owns or is about to own Warner Brothers. Technically, they're not merged yet, so maybe I'm slightly...
Is it Universal? Now I've got to look. Yeah, it's Universal. Yeah, it's Universal.
Who's owned by?
Peacock. NBC Universal.
Which is... Oh. No, I'm wrong. Okay,
yeah.
I'm wrong.
No, so they're still separate.
I'm wrong. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
But that's essentially why Barbenheimer happened. Because Barbie's a Warner Brothers movie, and they're we're not going to give Chris the satisfaction, so we're going to schedule it against Oppenheimer, leading to Barbenheimer, which... Have you ever Barbenheimered?
I have not, but I have seen both films.
I've Barbenheimered like 3 times now. I love doing the Barbenheimer.
This is a family-friendly TV show.
Yeah. In January, when I flew back from the East Coast after like a work thing, I had them both on my iPad, and I forget who I messaged. I think I messaged my friend Pat because he's also a big movie fan. I'm like, I have a 5-hour flight, and I have a 2-hour Barbie movie and a 3-hour Oppenheimer movie. Should I Barbenheimer this? And he's like, yes, you absolutely should. So I Barbenheimered my way back across the country. Strongly recommend. Very great. But yeah, so it's funny that like with Warner Brothers, they're like, nah, we don't think we're going to give Christopher Nolan the satisfaction. And then it's going to go from like Oppenheimer to The Odyssey.
Yeah.
Which is like these, yeah. Another kind of funny thing that's come out with The Odyssey is apparently Chris Nolan, he like hid his Oscar when he was writing The Odyssey because he like didn't want to be intimidated by like it being in the same room.
I see.
To which his son replied, "Why, you've never won one for writing."
Good, healthy relationship they've got.
Right? Yeah. Also very true. While I do really like Christopher Nolan movies, I definitely understand Oppenheimer not winning for writing.
The comment I saw is, at what point will Matt Damon stop leaving home? Because at this point they spent over $600 million trying to bring Matt Damon home.
Oh yeah, no, if you expand it more to like the saving Matt Damon.
Yeah.
Because then we start to include like Good Will Hunting as well. Like how much money are we spending on saving Matt Damon?
But in this case, they were all from the same director.
No.
Okay. They weren't. Right. Saving Private Ryan was not Christopher.
Here you go. So here are your movies of saving Matt Damon. You got Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah.
You've got Titan AE, which he is an animated character in. Syriana.
Yeah.
My iPhone dinged with that.
Syriana.
Yeah. Green Zone, Elysium, Interstellar, The Martian, and The Odyssey. How much money are we spending bringing Matt Damon home?
He just needs to stop leaving home. Okay.
Somebody actually calculated it at one point in time that like everything in universe, like how much would it cost? And it's like $900 billion now we've spent bringing Matt Damon home from somewhere.
Wow. He needs to. Okay. Shall we move into Sports Corner?
Sure. I have to say I really like the movie genre of saving Matt Damon.
Job at Netflix, new genre. Saving Matt Damon.
Apparently there's a thing with I think it was Tom Holland and Matt Damon in the movie where like Tom Holland's a big fan of like the Bourne movies. He's like he thought they were so good. And apparently there's like one take of the Odyssey where Matt Damon was running behind next to like Tom Holland or something, and it was like, "Tell me what you know about Treadstone."
You've just wasted more film. It's on the floor now.
Nah, they weren't mic'd up. It's all 80 yard anyway.
Okay.
Well, that's enough fun facts for the fun fact corner. Should we move into Sports Corner on this Formula One podcast?
Offside rule.
Oh, the offside rule. Okay. So.
I've tried to read this and I get very confused every time.
The offsides rule in soccer.
The way I understand it is it means that a player of the opposing team is in front of all players except the goalie of the other team.
So the rule does not technically involve the goalie. You are in an offside position if you are in front of the second to last defender before the goal. So you have to have 2 players on the team. So normally that's the goalie and a defender in front of you before the ball is played forward.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
And what does it mean to be played forward from the last kick?
Yeah. So like
you can't be dribbling it.
Well, let's say you don't have the ball. Let's say I have the ball, right? Yeah. And I'm like at midfield.
Yeah.
And you are behind the defender, but the defender's looking the wrong way, and suddenly I kick the ball past the defender and you run past the guy.
Yeah.
So because when the ball was kicked and played forward, you were in an onside position, you are not offsides if then like you put yourself in an offsides position as you're playing to play the ball, because when the ball was kicked, you were in the onside position.
See.
Right.
So is it the penultimate kick? Because if I kick it again, it's become my ball, and now I am in the offside position.
Right. Crucially, there is kind of another caveat here of like, if you have the ball, you can never be offsides.
Oh, interesting. So if you start with the ball and you maintain possession, you can never, never be offside.
Right. Like, so if you have possession of the ball, you can't be offside because, like, if you are running with the ball and, like, everybody kind of runs the other direction, like, why would anybody ever do this? But if, like, the team's like, haha, we're going to offside trap you and, like, run to the other court and you're running or running to the other half and you run past them with the ball, no, you're still on sides because you have the ball.
I see.
Yeah.
What is the intent of the rule? What is it trying to prevent?
Goal hanging.
What does it mean by goal hanging in this situation?
Let's say, like, let's say you're a goalie and I just hang out next to you, waiting for my team, like, from midfield just to kick the ball to me so I can just, like, head it in. It's to prevent goal hanging.
Huh.
Yeah.
Oh no, I don't know why you want to prevent that. Seems like a fair game.
Well,
that's ruins the spirit of the game. I don't really like football. Okay.
Because otherwise, let's just put, like, 8 people right across the front of the goal and I'll just, like, kick it high towards the front of the goal and then, like, just one of them has to kind of knock it in or prevent the goalie from, like, doing anything. Like, yeah, I get it. Yeah.
Maybe your sport is bad if that's a thing that's encouraged.
The crazy thing is, like, you can be offsides, but if you're not involved in the play, then it's not an offside. But then if you subsequently become involved in the play, it does count.
But only if you continue to be offside, not if you had been offside and then.
No, if you have been offside and then, like, become involved in the play, then it, like, that portion of the play, then it is an offside. So, like, prior to the World Cup, I saw this cool video where about, like, how smart Messi is at soccer, and, like, he was in an offside position, let the ball roll through his feet, so he never interacted with it. But then his teammate, who was on sides, ran past him and kicked the ball in. And, like, all the other players on the team thought Messi was going to touch the ball, so they, like, immediately turned around and started waving their hands that it was offside before the play even finished. So, like, they didn't finish out the play because they thought it was played towards Messi and he was going to touch it because he was offsides. So they just all started protesting the offsides, and then his teammate scored the goal. So because he wasn't involved in the play, it wasn't offsides.
Okay. What's next?
If you want a better description of John Cleese has a great video about what is offsides in soccer. And the best definition I can really tell you is a player is offsides when the lineman puts their flag up.
Oh, that's a good rule. I like that. You know you've gone over track limits when you get the message that you've been over track limits.
Exactly.
Okay, great.
When the linesman puts the flag up that says you're offsides, that's how you know you're offsides.
Good job. Keeping the rules in play. Okay, so we've done football corner. We did a bit of bicycle.
It's not coming
corner.
home.
It's not coming home. Oh yeah. Just for everybody else listening, England was 4-0 at half-time, coming in for third place, and then somehow ended up at 6-4 in the second half. I have so many questions about how either the first or second half happened.
I think it's a category of nobody. Well, there was also a thing on, like, Friday of, like, neither one of these teams want to play this game. So I think it was like you don't care about defense if there's nothing to, like, win or lose this game for. So, like, honestly, maybe both teams just should have, like, not played a goalie and, like, we're just gonna go 11 on 11 attackers.
All the headlines I said it was an amazing game and it was so much fun and exciting and brilliant.
Oh yeah, it seems like it was very fun. It's always fun in hockey when somebody pulls a goalie. But yeah, that's the best. It was just kind of a kick around.
Do we have other sports? We did bicycle corner.
Tade looks set to win number 5.
We did that.
My spicy take that I said this morning at the velodrome when I was training was that the Tour de France committee doesn't know how to organize a Tour de France around modern racers.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Probably correct.
Yeah, so...
If what I learned from Tour de France Unchained is that the Tour de France is run by a bunch of old farts.
It is. So the gist is when there's a lot of doping taking place in cycling,
That would never happen.
Well, it did happen. A lot of other gains just get thrown by the wayside of sports science because it just becomes a test of how much blood can we fit in this one human.
Yeah.
There's a guy who set the hour record. I forget exactly who it was at this point in time, but the joke is that the real record was how much blood can we fit in one human.
Now you just got to imagine me, this person who's, like, cycling really hard, high blood pressure, and they've got too much blood and it just starts popping out, like,
Yeah.
like they've been punctured by a cactus. It's just
Whatever the amount of blood that we normally are supposed to have in our bodies, I think he had like 2 pints more.
Wow, that's a lot of extra, because fluid is uncompressible, so they had to squish it inside that body. That's a lot of effort.
Either that, or maybe they just distilled out like all the red blood cells and just oversaturated all the red blood cell count. But either way, it was definitely a record of like how much blood can we fit in one human, which don't condone that. But the reality of the situation is during the kind of doping era of cycling, a lot of other sports science like nutrition kind of just fell to the wayside, because who cares about nutrition when we can just give this guy more drugs? Not great. But like these days I think they're consuming something like 120 grams of carbohydrate per hour. Like,
that's quite a lot.
It's a ton. Like it's actually so much so that like maybe this is actually too much. There was the long track speed skater from like the 2022 Olympics, who he had a similar sort of like he had a really interesting training philosophy, and he posted a whole like 40-page journal article about it. And it was actually really quite interesting, and it was definitely on the forefront of like sports science sort of stuff. But it was also like, oh yeah, I've eaten so many gummies over the last like 2 years, my dentist hates me, like because it's just all the sugars and stuff. Like, oh yeah, I have cavities out the wazoo because of this. But for a lot of the tour, they kind of, or for a lot of the doping era, they really didn't care about sports science of nutrition, because who cares? Because we can just put more drugs in this person. So that's what's really like taken the biggest leap in like the last 15 years, is like suddenly everybody caring about like sports science. And the way the tour was structured kind of in the 80s and 90s was you had your big mountaintop finishes, and then you also had really long individual time trials. So like we'd have your mountain stages, then you'd have your individual time trials. And, you know, kind of the pure climbers probably wouldn't win because they didn't have the power or the aerodynamics to like be a good time trialist. We're pretty much gone with the big time trials. Like it used to be in like the doping boy era, the Texas doper, who I'm not going to name. Like in his era, like the tour always finished with like a 50-kilometer time trial, like on the penultimate day. Nowadays, we're lucky to have 50 kilometers of individual time trialing in the whole tour, let alone in one stage. But as a result, they're trying to make these like more mountaintop finishes and stuff, and kind of more harder stages, because what they want to have happen is like, essentially people bonk and like run out of energy. So like, oh yeah, he gained 3 minutes one day, but now he's going to lose like 8 because he ran out of energy. But the problem is like, these guys are like, it used to be that, oh, you just ate the food that was in the hotel. And now like every team is traveling with like their own chef to like make sure the riders have all the right nutrients for like after the day. And they're eating and drinking so much more on the bike now than they used to ever drink before. So like, it's a real situation is like, that's just not something that's going to happen, but they're building the race around like, this will happen. And it just doesn't.
Are they telegraphing the fact that they're going to get to the point where they're going to restrict the, what they can drink and eat on the bike, and then they'll change it so that you have to eat like a set menu or something?
I don't think so.
They're not going to be like, you should be eating a baguette every day, and you should have a bottle of wine on the back, because that is the way we do it in France.
I mean, the tours from like the outset to World War I would agree with you.
Yeah, exactly. Which is, you know, I think most of the people are still running it from World War I.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, pretty much. So there's a lot of like that going on with. And it's why I also think I've thought for some time that the tour is the most boring bike race on the calendar. And this just helps solidify it. Because the other situation is everybody shows up to the tour in the best shape possible. So like that's another thing that prevents people from like having really bad days is, oh, they're all in really good shape because they're all training for this like 1 month on the calendar.
Which reminds me, I was surprised that like, what was it that last week they were already playing MLS this week? I was like, don't the footballers have something to do?
US has been done for a while.
Yeah, but they have foreign players.
Nobody in the World Cup.
Messi. He plays for Miami.
Oh, that's true.
So.
Well, he'll be back.
Yeah, something like that. He lost. Boo. Sucks for him. Okay. So we've done the cycling. We've done the footy. We've done the racy.
Oh, you want to talk about Wimbledon?
We could talk briefly about Wimbledon. Wimbledon was good. I'm not a tennis person, but I quite enjoyed Wimbledon. There was quite a few breakthrough players who made it further than they, like unseeded players, which were quite interesting. The highlights that I watched on the BBC were fascinating because they pick the shot of the day and they show all the plays and stuff. And some of the plays people were doing, like jumping through the air to try and get the ball to knock it back over the net. It was very impressive, and across both the women's and the men's. And Djokovic, I hate to say it, Djokovic is very much a unique talent. He is 39, which is younger than me.
Old.
He's washed. But he made it through to the semifinals, I think he did. So he was pretty good. And then you had Yannick Sinner, who's also pretty
you're
good.
telling me potentially the best tennis player to ever live is a pretty good tennis player?
Well, given the fact he's 39 and had to work hard to keep it in, he is the most. I think he's the second most successful of all time in terms of Grand Slams. He's the highest earning at 192 million. That's also where I did my boondoggle, and I learned how people get paid for playing tennis. If you can get onto the WTA or the ATP tour of tennis, it is extremely lucrative.
Yeah, but it's also similar to like golf, as in like it looks really lucrative if you can make the cut line.
Yes,
but you're also
it's extremely expensive.
Well, know that, but you're also mostly paying your own way and everything like that. Like there's a lot of
the participatee. I think I saw for even a mid-tier. If you're seeded, you will get a minimum guarantee of like 80 grand, which I know you got to pay for a bunch of other stuff. But if you make it further into it, you're looking at 150 or 200 grand. And so if you can make that, I'm sure there's a tennis thing per month at least. Not too bad. I'm not saying it's an easy rich job, but I think it's a pretty well paid job. Also, think of all the other tennis players who don't make it and who are unseeded, who probably only get a low grade performance fee of maybe like 5 grand. It's pretty good. I highly recommend next year people watch the Wimbledon.
Novak is number 1 with most career Grand Slams.
Okay.
At 24. Nadal's at 22 and Federer's at 8.
I think there was one more that he needs to win to have all the records, and I can't remember which record it was.
Let's see. He is the career Super Slam. He's tied with Andre Agassi. The career Golden Slam. He's tied with Andre Agassi and Rafael, which that's just something you can only ever tie. Non-calendar, that's fine. Surface Slam.
I'm gonna have to look up on Wikipedia now. What's his name? Novak
Djokovic. He's pretty good.
Oh yeah, that was it. Career titles 101. He is 3rd in the Open era, so he has to keep going.
Oh, that sucks.
But yeah, he's pretty good. So good for him. And he has such a good. Interestingly, he had such a different playing style and also a really good attitude, and I think that's because he's basically the GOAT, and therefore it's like I can have fun with the other player.
Oh, I don't watch golf, but I saw a golfer got a 2-stroke penalty for walking on grass.
What was he supposed to walk on?
I don't know.
Water? Did you hear about the F2 driver who got disqualified because a member of his family was in the garage with a headset with a microphone on it?
That's funny.
Yeah, apparently it's an unsupported. It's not allowed it unless it's officially issued to you.
Fair enough.
Anything else?
Baseball's going on.
Yeah, baseball. Wow.
Well, it's after the All-Star break. So baseball starts to matter now.
It's baseball.
It's fair. They changed the format for the Home Run Derby.
I don't understand how they changed the format. Isn't it like 2 games and 2 players, and they're not 2 players, 2 teams, and they play it for like a number of innings and call it good?
No, this is so the Home Run Derby is part of the All-Star break of everybody who's really good at swinging a baseball bat. They all take turns to see how many times you can swing a baseball bat really well.
You have to hit a ball.
Yeah. So it used to be there was a time limit, and it was however many like home runs you hit within like 3 minutes or something like that.
Right.
And they changed it to 20 swings, which is a better format. So because you essentially you have like your buddy throwing you balls. Like it's not like there's like a real pitcher throwing you,
it's
not
not standardized.
It's standardized in the sense of like you get your hitting coach out there to toss lobs at you over home plate, and then you can pick which ones like you really want to go after to try to hit home runs. But so it went from you had like 3 minutes to you have like 20 swings.
Surely these players are getting like 20 out of 20.
16 out of 20 won it.
Oh, interesting. I'm
Yeah.
kind of surprised by that. I'd have thought.
Hitting-
I'd have thought with your partner being somebody you are practiced with, you would have just been 100%.
I mean, hitting a baseball is still really hard.
True.
And hitting a baseball in such a way that like it goes 300 feet or 330, 50 feet, like within a 90-degree window, like perfectly every time.
Okay. I was
'Cause,
guessing
like,
the distance. I didn't realize there was a angled window, but it makes sense.
This isn't cricket. Can't just hit it anywhere and call it a sixer.
I mean,
No, if it goes
at for playing cricket when you're supposed to be playing baseball.
right, if it goes foul, it doesn't count. So like if you pull it down, pull it down one of the lines and it goes foul, it doesn't count. Yeah.
Any other sports?
So back on cycling, because there was track cycling that was happening at the LA Velodrome, which is the site of the Olympics in 2028, and they have decided they aren't going to replace anything about the facility, or it sounds like they're not going to replace anything about the facility.
That sounds a bit sus. When did they build the facility? 1976?
2003? 2002?
So it's a bit raggy. It's a bit...
Well, it was never great. But it's got like 2 sets of toilets on the mezzanine, and only one set is ever really open. So for Emma Finucane, because Com Games are about to start, by the way, she's Welsh, go Wales. But Emma came down to race to get kind of an experience on the track before the Olympic Games.
Yeah.
And she was surprised to learn she was changing into her skin suit in a porta potty out back of the velodrome. She's like, there's not a proper changing area or a locker room in this velodrome like every other or world class velodrome that exists.
I'm sorry. This is the Olympic Games. Have they decided they're going to have porta potties for everybody to get changed in?
Yes. Well, this is a little bit. This is a little bit on Emma, who walked right past the discrete changing closets that exist in the infield of the Velo Sports Center. She didn't know they existed. Somebody should have pointed them out to her.
You'd have thought they'd have put probably great big signs on it saying changing room.
No.
Because they can't afford to pay that for that sign either.
Yeah. I had a friend go down and race, and I was messaging him the day he was flying back, and it's like, where are you flying out of? He's like, LAX. And it's like, okay, well, here's a fun topic of conversation for you and your kid of what facility is the worst of their type of facility, the Velo Sports Center or LAX?
LAX is a terrible airport.
Yes, but we agreed the Velo Sports Center was the worst because at least LAX has flushable toilets.
True. It also has a really nice pet relief area in the Delta Terminal. Okay.
I don't think we have anything else. I think we've procrastinated enough on this.
So would you like this to turn into sports tinfoil helmets for all sports that require you to wear helmets or not? Let us know at feedback@tinfoilhelmets.com. We are waiting.
I'm just going to let you know right now. I'm struggling enough to do this thing like weekly in the F1 season. We're not turning this into like a weekly sports roundup podcast. We're sticking with F1. We might dive into like other fun sport corners, but if there's not an F1 race, we're not doing a record.
If you feel differently and would like to provide words of encouragement to make Andrew feel like a positive person and how he would be really good, please write into feedback@tinfoilhelmets.com and let us know your conspiracy theories, feedback, and wants, and tell your friends to like, listen, rate, and swipe. Words. And just so everybody knows, I will not be doing a sports corner because I really don't care that much about sports. Thank you.
Says the guy who does a sports podcast.
It's not a sports podcast.
Oh, really? What is this then?
It's a conspiracy theory podcast that focuses its conspiracy theories on a thing called motor racing, which is
a type of
science-based competitive environment.
Okay. Is there a championship at the end? Do individuals and teams compete for said championship?
Is Robot Wars a sport?
Sure. For the purposes of me being right about this, yes.
Okay. Is the XL World Championships that sport?
I mean, it's a game of skill for sure.
It's on ESPN.
It's on ESPN 8, the Ocho.
Maybe that's the real metric. Anything, if it goes on ESPN, it's a sport.
Oh, so it's not a sport because it's on Apple TV.
There we go.
They just have other non-sports like MLS and MLB.
Okay. Let's get the party started.
You ready for this?
I'm ready.
Pump up the jam, pump it up while the feet are jumping.
Yep.
Yeah, dance. I want to get the booty on the floor tonight. Okay.